will cover police administration, police operation, the quad concept, values and ethical standards, uprightness, no, ethics ninyo. Then there will be essay for PO second class and PO first class. For the general information, it will cover current events. So, madalas yan, current PNP chief, mga secretary, issues ng Pilipinas, no, or issues na involved ang Philippines, lalo sa politics and mga territorial na mga disputes. Then we will also discuss Philippine Constitution and the criminal justice system, which I believe familiar naman na kayo since you are now sa promotional exam, 'di ba? Sa police administration, again, it will be discussed by another lecturer. So, hindi ko na siya masyadong papasadahan, ano. Then, police operational procedures, for sure, the POP, yung manual nyo, no? So, I know na na-discuss na rin yan sa inyo. Review lang talaga siya, di ba? Isa-solidify lang yung mga nalalaman nyo. And then these laws na napaka-importante ngayon, timely na mga batas. Then, values ethical standards, yung PNP ethical doctrine na makikita nyo rin sa sa manual ng PNP, values and uprightness, RA 6713, no, yung nasa ano natin, nasa Code of Conduct and Ethical Standard for Public Officials and Employees. Good evening. Okay? So, ayun, magpapasada lang tayo. I think nasa 50 slides lang naman to. So, Philippine current events. As of now, I will be discussing yung mga current personality sa politics natin. No, kasi we have branches in the government, 'di ba? Yung legislative, executive, and judiciary. So, sa executive and legislative leadership natin, ito din yung apat na highest ranking officials sa Philippines. President, Vice President, Senate President, and then Speaker of the House. Kumbaga, kapag yung president is hindi kaya, disqualified, or namatay, no? Sino ang papalit? Ganyan po yung pagkakasunod-sunod. So, pag di na kinaya, disqualified na in case of death, no, or incapacity, ang papalit po kay president is itong nasa vice president na official, si VP Sara. So kung hindi na kinakaya ni Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, the president, si VP, pag hindi din kaya nito or hindi siya pwede, si Senate President, at kapag hindi rin kaya ng Senate President, disqualified siya or in case of death, si Speaker of the House. Ganun po yung pagkakasunod-sunod Kasi baka may mindset tayo na pag hindi kaya na VP, Senate President, tapos yung susunod na mga senators, hindi po, no? Speaker of the House na po yung susunod. Okay. So, the current president natin, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., pareho po yan sila ni VP Sara ng start date because, tatandaan, sa president tsaka vice president, they will always start sa June 30th, 12 noon ng taon kung kailan nangyari yung eleksyon. Ilang taon yung kanilang term of service? 6 years. Okay, 6 years. So by June 30, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. June 30, 2028, mapapalitan na po si President. Sure yan, mapapalitan si President. Kung matatapos man niya yung kanyang term, June 30, 2022, 12 noon ulit, papalitan na siya. Okay? Si Sara Duterte, ganun din. Mag-i-end yung term niya ngayon ng June 30, 2028. Pero pwede pa siyang tumakbo ulit as VP. No. Si President Marcos Jr. hindi na pwede kasi ang president po can only can be elected once lang. So hindi na yan pwedeng tumakbo. Si Sara, pwede pa kasi for VP naman. Okay? Yung mga Senate President, depende yan sa election. But itong start date kasi depende kung kailan po sila na-appoint as President or Speaker of the House. So, kaya iba-iba sila, ano? So, tatandaan, Senate President natin ngayon, si Vicente Tito Soto III, and then the Speaker of the House is si Boji D. Okay? Next, sa law enforcement naman. Sa law enforcement, napasok sa field ninyo, ma'am and sir, si DILG Secretary, which is, ito po yung department na naghahawak ng PNP. Ang DILG Secretary natin is si Juanito Victor John Vic Remulla. Okay. Ma'am, bakit siya rin yung NAPOLCOM chairman? Because according to the law, kung sino po yung DILG secretary, siya rin po automatic yung ex-officio chairman ng NAPOLCOM. So automatic, nung siya po ay naging DILG secretary, siya rin po yung NAPOLCOM ex-officio chairman. When we say ex-officio, by virtue of office. 'Di ba? Nasa posisyon siya na yan kasi may isa pa siyang opisina na siya yung leader, siya yung head doon. So, ang nasa batas, kapag ikaw po ay secretary ng DILG, by virtue of that office, automatic ikaw rin po ay chairman ng NAPOLCOM. So, pag ang tanong, who is the current DILG secretary, siya po yan, John Vic Remulla or Juanito Victor Remulla. Kung ang tanong is the NAPOLCOM ex-officio chairman or chairman, siya rin po yon, Juanito Victor John Vic Remulla. Next, sikat ngayon, no? Si Sir Kalinisan. Isa lang naman po siya sa mga commissioners, but he is the Vice Chairman and Executive Officer ng NAPOLCOM, Attorney Rafael Vicente Ralph Kalinisan, and medyo kilala siya because super active niya sa online or sa SOCMED, di ba? Next, AFP Chief of Staff. Then sa mga ano natin, Armed Forces of the Philippines. Yung Chief of Staff natin is si General Romeo Bronner Jr. So head po yan siya sa lahat ng AFP branches, Army, Navy, and Air Force. And then, alam ko hindi niyo malilimutan for sure, PNP chief natin currently since January 28, 2026, si Police General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. Maaring matanong lang, no, history, first, last PC chief or Philippine Constabulary chief or first PNP chief, si Cesar Nazareno. Okay. And then yung current natin, si Sir Jose Melencio C. Nartates Jr. Okay, so, ayan lang, mga, ano lang, mga pwede maging trivial na questions. So, ito yung mga last. So, medyo mahaba yung pinagdaanan ni Sir Nartates. Ano, bago siya naging full-fledged na PNP chief, no, naging OIC muna siya from August 26, 2025 after the relief of Sir Nicolas Torre hanggang September 1 naging acting chief na siya ng PNP, and then January 28 talagang naging kumbaga sinemento na yung pagiging PNP chief niya. Yan, si Sir Nartates. Let me know if you have questions. Okay, next we go to the Philippine territorial disputes na maaaring lumabas pa rin, no? So the West Philippine Sea na issue natin, active dispute siya involving the overlapping claims with China, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Brunei. Although ang pinaka malalang dispute is between China and Philippines. Okay, ano ba ang kiniklaim? Ano ba yung mga claim ng bawat panig? Si China, kiniklaim niya na sa kanya si West Philippine Sea using the 9-dash line na basis, no? Sa Philippines naman, using the 200 nautical miles, EEZ ng UNCLOS. Okay, yung sa United Nations. Ngayon, anong sabi? Nagkaroon na po ah, ng desisyon, kumbaga, no, ng arbitration, nasa atin talaga si West Philippine Sea. So in 2016, arbitral ruling, a landmark legal victory where the Permanent Court of Arbitration or PCA ruled that China's historical claims have no legal basis under UNCLOS. So hindi siya kasi kung i-accept nila yung ganong claim ni China, halos lahat ng nasa side na yan ng ng karagatan sa kanila. Sobrang lawak kasi ng 9-dash line. So, hindi naman natin ginagamit yon. Ang ginagamit natin is yung UNCLOS. We're using the 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone. Okay, so panalo tayo although hanggang ngayon, no, nahihirapan pa rin naman tayo na gamitin, talagang enjoyin yung claim natin sa West Philippine Sea. Next, the Sabah Island or the North Borneo. So, a long-standing sovereignty dispute between Philippines and Malaysia. Ano bang nangyari? So, meron tayong Sultanate of Sulu, 'di ba? Yung Sultanate of Sulu, kiniklaim niya na pinarentahan lang ng Pinas. Si Sulu is part ng Philippines, right? So, kiniklaim niya ng Sulu, Sultanate of Sulu na ang Sabah is pinarentahan lang sa British Borneo Company ng Malaysia. Pero Sa Malaysia naman, ang ina-assert nila, it was ceded, binigay na, 'no, binenta na sa kanila, naibenta na. Meron ng transfer of, territory. So doon nagkakaroon ng issue, talaga bang binenta, may transfer na ba talaga ng pagmamay-ari or renta lang siya? So hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin siya naaayos. Meron pa ring dispute between Philippines and Malaysia, okey? Okay, next. So sa athletes natin baka lumabas. So EJ Obiena is the pole vaulter. So hanggang ngayon is magaling pa rin naman siya, nananalo pa rin siya. So in 2026, he's Asian indoor gold medalist and right now he's preparing for the World Pole Vault Challenge in Manila. Then sa tennis, si Iyala. Alex Ayala ng tennis. No, she will be competing in European clay season. Elger Yulo and Carlos Yulo sa gymnastics. Si Carlos Yulo, medyo sikat siya kasi back to back yung gold medal niya, dalawang gold medal yung nakuha niya. Heidelin Diaz sa weightlifting, sumikat siya nitong nakaraan because of yung sa no, sa gas, yung lifetime free gas, no. Hindi naman nangyari kasi nag-endorse siya ng ibang oil company. Okay. So as of now, she is a professor at UP Diliman. Tini-teach niya po yung weightlifting, parang kumbaga ina-advocate niya na maging part ng education ng mga Pinoy yung weightlifting. And then of course, mainit ngayon si Sir Manny Pacquiao sa boxing because nagkakaroon ng usap-usapan about rematch versus Mayweather, no? Tomorrow na daw, exhibition April 18. Okay, pero may naririnig din ako na hindi matutuloy, may naririnig din ako na kailangan talaga ni Mayweather ng pera kaya pumayag siya ng laban 'no, gano'n na mga issue. But as of this time, yan po yung mga athletes natin na sikat at maaaring mapasok po sa exam. Next, impeachment cases. So mainit-init, Vice President Sara Duterte. So in 2025, nagkaroon po ng filing or initiation ng impeachment case. So she was sa Vice President, nagkaroon po ng impeachment kaso, ano nangyari? Nagkaroon ng issue sa prescriptive period kasi sa isang taon, within a year, kailangan isang beses lang magkaroon ng impeachment case or initiative for impeachment cases, no? However, yung sa kanya, apat na impeachment case yung nangyari. So, she was successfully impeached dapat, no? Matutuloy na dapat yung trial, kaso the Supreme Court nullified the articles of impeachment. Kasi nga may 1-year bar rule na kapag nag-initiate ang House of Representative, isang beses lang sa isang once a year lang, once a year. Nakaapat sila within that year, so hindi po natuloy. So as of now, ayun, nawala na yung 1 year bar rule kasi nga lagpas na tayo doon sa 1 year from the time na na-initiate nila yung first na complaint. So currently, no, nag-i-initiate na naman ang House of Representative. Okay? Then meron din tayong issue about President Bongbong Marcos. Two impeachment complaints were dismissed, no? Officially dismissed by the House of Committee on Justice in February 2026 for being insufficient in substance. Hindi siya kumbaga not enough para po magkaroon ng impeachment case against President Bongbong Marcos Jr. Okay? Next. So, may impeachment case. Just so we're sure na naiintindihan natin siya, let's discuss impeachment process. So, meron tayong mga tao, nawala yung ano ko. Okay, nawala. Sino-sino yung mga tao na pwede pong mapa-impeach? Wala dito, guys. Okay. So, yung mga taong pwede pong mapa-impeach, na-delete siya. Kakainis. Ay, number 1, si President. Pakilagay na lang, pakisulat. Next, Vice President. Next ay si Supreme Court Justices. Tingnan ko nga kung nandito. Wala talaga. Impeachable members. Wala. Sorry guys. So wala siya ano. So meron lang naman 5, isulat niyo na lang 'to, mga taong puwedeng ma-impeach. President, Vice President, members of the Supreme Court, 15 po yung members ng Supreme Court, isang Chief Justice at 14 na Associate Justices. So puwede po silang mapa-impeach. Next, members of the constitutional commissions. Sino-sino yung mga constitutional commissions? Civil Service Commission, COMELEC, Commission on Election, tsaka Commission on Audit. Okay, sila po. And then the last one is si Ombudsman. So bali may 5 mga posisyon lang po na pwedeng mapa-impeach. Other positions like senators, congressman, PNP chief, AFP chief of staff, mga matataas na ranggo, hindi po sila pwedeng ma-impeach. Mayroon po silang other ways to impeach them. Criminal case, ganun, no? Iba pang issues. Okay, but doon sa 5, if gusto niyo silang ipatanggal sa posisyon, you go for impeachment. Kasi yun po yung ways to remove them from their position. Again, President, Vice President, members of the Supreme Court, members of the Constitutional Commission, and then the Ombudsman. Sulat ko na lang dito. Press, VP. Uy, hindi pwede. Members of the Supreme Court. Kaya na mag-ano ng shortcut of Constitutional Commission. Na-delete siya guys. And Ombudsman. Okay. Next. Ano naman yung mga kaso or dahilan bakit puwedeng mapa-impeach yung mga 'yan, yung 5 posisyon na 'yan, 'no, yung mga tao sa positions na 'yan. So, number 1, culpable violation of the Constitution, talagang intentional na violation ng Philippine Constitution, 'no, haba ng Constitution natin, 'no, especially yung sa Bill of Rights. 'Pag 'yan ang nilabag at that's willful and intentional, puwede pong maging grounds for impeachment 'yan. Number 2, treason. So, hindi naman siya puwedeng mangyari ngayon guys kasi treason can only be committed during wartime. At involved dapat si Philippines doon sa war na yon. So, tinutulungan mo yung kalabang bansa, no? You are adhering to them, sinusunod nyo sila. Or pinapahina nyo yung Pilipinas para manalo sila or pinapalakas nyo yung kalabang bansa during the war. So that's treason and that's grounds for impeachment. President ka naman, 'di ba? Vice President ka, nasa posisyon ka na 'yan tapos ipagkakanulo mo yung Pilipinas. So that's impeachable. Ground for impeachment. Next ay bribery, direct man or indirect. So marami dapat isyung ganyan, no? Kaso hindi natin sila napapa-impeach. Graft and corruption, violations of RA 3019 or yun nga, graft and corruption practices. Anti-graft and corrupt practices. Then other high crimes, serious offenses that strike at the life of the state. So mga crimes na talagang parang pinagtataksilan mo yung bansa natin. Okay? And betrayal of public trust. So, new under 1987 Constitution acts like cronyism, favoritism, or gross negligence. Ano ba yung cronyism? So, pareho lang yan sila halos ni nepotism. So, lagi natin naririnig si nepotism, no? Ng mga nepo babies. But si nepotism is favoring relatives or family members, while cronyism is favoring friends. Hindi mo sila kadugo. Pero kaalyansa mo sila. So in case na meron kang ipapa-appoint, 'no, sila yung pinipili mo. Although hindi mo sila relative. That's cronyism. Kapag relative mo at binibigyan mo siya ng favor for jobs and job advantages para makapasok sa service, ganyan, nepotism po 'yan. Okay, next. So, the House of tatandaan, ang pinaka may power to initiate impeachment cases ay si House of Representatives. Yan po yung mga kongresista natin, okay? Yung mga kongresista nyo sa probinsya nyo or sa district nyo. Congresswoman, congressman, at yung mga party list representatives natin. So as of now, we have 318 na members of the House of Representatives. Kumbaga, kung meron kang gustong ipa-impeach na tao, halimbawa ako, private citizen, meron akong gustong ipa-impeach, meron akong basis, magpapasa po ako ng complaint magpapasa po ako ng mga detalye nun sa House of Representative. Kahit isang kongresista lang yung mag-support sa akin dun, puwede yon. And then magkakaroon ng verified complaint, 'di ba? Itong member ng house na 'yan or yung kongresista na 'yon, magpapa-approve 'yan, magpapapirma po 'yan sa mga kasamahan niya sa Congress, sa House of Representative. So 318 sila, magpapapirma katulad ng nangyari kay VP Sara, 'di ba? Nakita natin sa Facebook yung mga pumirma na agree sila na magkaroon ng impeachment case. So ilan dapat ang pipirma na they want to affirm na magkaroon ng articles of impeachment? Kailangan 1/3, at least 1/3. So kung meron tayong 318, at least maka 106 na pirma na nag-a-agree sila. Okay? So yan yung mangyayari ngayon. Kung meron na pong 106 na pipirma or more than that, then magkakaroon po ng articles of impeachment. Sino po ang nag-initiate? House of Representative. Ngayon, pag nagkaroon po ng ganong affirmation, magsiset na po ng trial si Senate. Dito papasok yung upper chamber, si Senate. So si Senate will try and decide nung case na yon, yung impeachment case na yon. So ito po yung nag-bar no doon sa unang impeachment case si Sara Duterte. No impeachment proceeding shall be initiated against the same official more than once within a period of 1 year. So hindi po natuloy because 1 year nga naman. Okay? Wait lang, share natin tong ano. Okay, 1 year nga naman. Okay, so yon hindi natuloy. Next, the Senate shall have the sole power to try and decide all cases of impeachment. When sitting for that purpose, senator shall be on oath and affirmation. So ganun lang, dalawa lang dapat ang maiisip nyo kapag impeachment case. Kumbaga Congress lang po talaga ang gagana kapag impeachment case. Yung Congress nahahati sa dalawa, 'di ba? House of Representative tsaka Senate. House of Representative tsaka Senate. Si House of Representative yung taga-initiate, si Senate po yung magta-try at magde-decide. Kumbaga sila yung magiging judge. Magkakaroon ng trial, sila po yung magiging judge natin or justices natin during that time. Nagkakaroon lang ng additional tao, guys, as ma'am and sir, kapag si President po yung may impeachment case. Papasok dyan si Chief Justice ng Supreme Court. He will be the presiding officer. Pero hindi siya boboto. Siya lang yung magpa-facilitate nung impeachment case or trial. Pero hindi siya boboto. Ang boboto pa rin is yung senators kasi they are the ones who will decide talaga kung anong mangyayari doon, anong magiging result ng case. Okay? Ngayon, sige, nag-initiate si House of Representative, pumirma ang at least 1/3 na members, nagkaroon ng articles of impeachment. Nag-set ng trial si Senate. Let's say si President po yung magkakaroon ng impeachment case. So, nag-set ng trial si Senate. Diyan na po yung mga senators natin, ano na sila, yung toga, okay? Black gown, pero sila ay maroon gown sila eh. So nandun na sila. Sino ang idadagdag natin? Si Chief Justice ng Supreme Court. Bakit? Kasi naman, si President po yung may case. So nandyan lang po si Chief Justice, magpa-facilitate, will preside the case. Nangyari ang trial, lahat ng evidence nabigay na. Ano na mangyayari? Botohan. Sa botohan, kailangan at least 2/3 ang bumoto na i-convict yung pinapa-impeach. So halimbawa si President Bongbong Marcos, 24 po yung senators na pumunta. Sa 24 na yon, at least maka 16 or 17 man lang na mag-a-agree na pa-impeach siya. Then kapag nakakuha tayo ng ganong vote, 16 or 17 pataas, then may impeach na po yung ating president. Same thing sa Vice President, members of the Supreme Court, members of the Constitutional Commission, at kay Ombudsman. Ang kakaiba lang doon kay President, merong presiding officer, which is si Chief Justice ng Supreme Court. Yung nasa baba, Vice President, no, yung nasa hanggang kay Ombudsman, wala po. Mga senators lang po yung gagalaw. Okay. But it's the same. Two-thirds pa rin ng nila ang boboto para masabi natin na sila po ay mai-impeach. Okay. What will happen if na-impeach po yung tao? Ito po yung consequence ng impeachment. wala pong makukulong sa impeachment. Sa impeachment, removal from office lang. So kung president siya, tanggal siya bilang president. Kung vice president siya, tanggal siya bilang vice president. Another thing, aside from the removal is, lifetime na po na disqualify siya to hold public office. Hindi na siya pwedeng humawak ng public office in the future after the impeachment. Okay? Ma'am, paano pag gusto namin ipakulong? Kasi nakita namin sa impeachment na nagdakaw talaga siya, nangurakot talaga siya. Okay? Pwede pa rin naman mapakulong but not through impeachment. Magpa-file ng criminal case sa civil court or sa Sandigan Bayan. Yan, no? Then kapag doon, syempre mas mabigat yung magiging ano doon proof beyond reasonable doubt yan pag criminal prosecution, criminal case, 'di ba? So, doon iba yung level ng burden, 'di ba? Or quantum of evidence ang kailangan. So another trial yan. But this time, ang hawak na po is sa Sandigan Bayan na. So, hanggang makarating sa Supreme Court kung lalaban pa sila. Okay, so pwede pa rin magkaso. Hindi naman limited na pag na-impeach siya, magkakaroon ng double jeopardy. Wala naman gano'n. Wala pong double jeopardy doon. Okay? Kasi sui generis po, see, impeachment case. Unique on its own, no? Unique siya. So pwede pa rin mag-file ng criminal case sa civil courts. So ito, shortcut lang, House of Representatives will have the exclusive power to initiate all cases of impeachment. Ang Senate naman will have sole power to try and decide all cases of impeachment. Next, we go to Philippine Constitution. So sa Philippine Constitution, ito po yung ating saligang batas ng Pilipinas, considered as the supreme law of the land or supreme law of the Philippines. Pinakamataas na batas sa Pilipinas. So its final draft was completed by the Constitutional Commission on October 12, 1986. Though after po na matanggal sa posisyon si Marcos Sr. At during this time, ginagamit po nating konstitusyon yan is the Freedom Constitution or the 1986 Constitution. So, nung natapos po yung draft ng 1987, it was ratified nationwide through a plebiscite and na-approve naman po siya ng February 2, 1987 at up until now, ito pa rin yung gamit natin na saligang batas, the 1987 Constitution. Medyo matanda na rin siya, ano. So it is the fundamental law of the land in the Philippines. It establishes the structure, policies, roles, and duties of the Philippine government. It contains Bill of Rights, which is lahat ng obligasyon ng Estado, lahat ng mga bawal, labagin ng ng government, no? Kasi syempre, no, kapag nasa service kayo, nasa government kayo, ang tingin ng mga tao powerful kayo. But there are certain rights na kahit kayo na ang presidente ng Pilipinas, kayo na ang PNP chief, kayo na ang pinakamalakas, pinaka-powerful na tao sa Pilipinas because you are in the public service, may mga rights na hindi niyo pwedeng labagin. At yan po yung nasa Bill of Rights, yung ating mga guarantees, no, na hindi kami pwedeng gawin niyo to sa amin kasi meron kaming Bill of Rights. Okay, so it establishes the structure, policies, roles, and duties of the Philippine government. So kapag gusto niyo malaman sino-sino yung pwedeng maging president, vice president, anong trabaho nila, paano magpasa ng batas, yan, impeachment, you go to the 1987 Constitution. Nandyan po yan lahat. Okay? Next. So, the 1987 Constitution has 18 articles. Very important po dyan si National Territory at saka si Article 3, the Bill of Rights. Although importante silang lahat, no? O importante silang lahat. So, may wala dyan si preamble. Hindi kasi siya article, no? Siya po yung guiding light natin, no? Parang kumbaga prayer sa simula, no? Bago natin basahin yung buong 1987 Constitution. Kailangan isipin mo na habang binabasa mo si 1987 Constitution, iyon yung mindset mo, the preamble. Okay? So Article 1 natin, National Territory. Article 2, Declaration of Principles and State Policies. Article 3, Bill of Rights. 4, Citizenship. Sino-sino ang mga Pinoy? No? Nandiyan yung makikita sa Article 4, Citizenship. Article 5, suffrage, or sino-sino ang pwedeng bumoto. Anong qualification? Minimum qualification lamang po ang kailangan. 6, 7, 8, our departments, mga branches ng state or the government pala, branches of the government, sa legislative department or branch, executive branch, judicial branch, 6, 7, 8. Ayan yung tinatawag kong LEJ, L-E-J. Then Article 9, the Constitutional Commissions. Article 10, local government. Article 11, accountability of public officers. 12, 13, 14, 15, no? National economy and patrimony, social justice and human rights, education, science and technology, arts, culture and sports, and then number 15, the family, very important. Then general provision, diyan papasok yung sa PNP, no? The state shall establish one police force, national in scope and civilian in character, to be administered and controlled by the NAPOLCOM. Tapos meron silang mga local executive, may control din sila. Diba? Sa general provision yan, Article 16. Although marami pang nasa loob yan ng mga sections. And then Article 17, amendments and revision. Ma'am, sobrang tanda na ng Constitution natin, 1987 pa. Pwede ba siyang baguhin? Yes, pwede siyang baguhin. Diyan niyo makikita sa Article 17 yung ways to change or amend or revise the Constitution. Ayun nga lang, since we have a rigid Constitution, mahirap siya baguhin. No, kasi may dalawang uri ng Constitution eh, flexible at saka rigid. Meron ding written, unwritten. So sa atin, written po. Sa rigid at flexible, rigid tayo. Mahirap siyang baguhin. Maraming process. Mahirap siyang gawin. No? Mahirap i-revise, mahirap i-amend. But there's a way to do it. Okay, nandyan po yan sa Article 17. And then, transitory provision, habang ongoing yung pagbabago, no, habang ini-implement sa Article 1987 Constitution, no, yung 1986. So, doon nakalagay yan. Hindi naman yan siya masyado importante na. Okay, so, sa preamble natin, like what I've said, no, kung babasahin at iintindihin mo, i-interpret mo ang ating 1987 Constitution, you should always bear in mind na we are sovereign Filipino people. Humihingi tayo ng tulong kay Almighty God, and we are trying to build a just and humane society. So upon reading the laws that we have in the Philippines, the Constitution that we have, kailangan nasa mindset natin na gusto natin ng hustisya, gusto natin ng makataong society. No? So kung babasahin mo doon at may death penalty, malamang sa malamang ayaw natin ng death penalty. Kung kailangan lang talaga siya mangyayari. No? Meron namang provision about death penalty. Pero as much as possible, ayaw nila. Kasi we are trying to build a just and humane society. No? And establish a government that shall embody our ideals and aspiration, promote the common good, conserve and develop our patrimony, and secure to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of independence and democracy. So, 'di ba, after ng martial law, na feel or na sinasabi that that's the time nagkaroon tayo ng independence and democracy, no? Kasi nga martial law 'yun eh. Dictatorship 'yon. And also maraming mga sumakop sa Pilipinas. So, we are hoping na through that constitution and the laws that ginagawa is maipamana pa natin sa mga susunod na generation itong independence and democracy na meron tayo. Ba? Under the rule of law and a regime of truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, and peace, do ordain and promulgate this constitution. So, wala siyang article, no? Para lang siyang pasimula. Yan si preamble. Next, si national territory. So si national territory comprises of the Philippine archipelago, no? Lahat archipelago, syempre hiwa-hiwalay, may kalupaan, may mga isla, no? So lahat 'yan ay Philippine territory. National territory natin 'yan. Lahat ng nasa loob ng isla, nasa loob ng katubigan, no? With all islands and waters embraced therein and all other territories. Ma'am, ito lang ba ang teritoryo ng Pilipinas? Kung makikita nyo kahit nasa labas na po neto, kasi ang national territory natin, territorial waters natin, ma'am and sir, yung nasa blue lang. Hanggang dito lang tayo sa blue. Lahat ng nasa loob niyan. That's our territorial waters. Ngayon, nakalagay dito, all other territories over which the Philippines has sovereignty and jurisdiction. Mapapansin nyo may mga internal waters din tayo dito, oh. 'Di ba? Because although malayo siya, no? Although malayo siya sa doon sa pinaka-archipelago, Binigay kasi sa atin yan. May sovereignty tayo dyan. So, atin yan. Okay? National archipelagic water pa rin natin yan. Okay? Next, consisting of its terrestrial, fluvial, and aerial domain. So, kabundukan, katubigan, at sa himpapawid. Basta po, belong siya dyan sa blue or yan sa mga part po siya ng ating national territory, atin po yan. Okay, including its territorial sea, sa pinakailalim man ng karagatan niyan, sa ibabaw man ng himpapawid, atin po yan. Okay? Seabed, subsoil, and insular shelves, and other submarine areas. The waters around, between, and connecting the islands of the archipelago, gaano man kalawak or kanaro, no? It will be part of the internal waters of the Philippines. So, sorry kung hindi nyo masyadong nakikita. Mayroon tayong baselines dyan. Tapos, archipelagic waters, yung nasa loob. Territorial sea, dyan lang po, hanggang dyan lang po yung, dyan lang po natin pwedeng i-enforce yung batas ng Pilipinas. Di ba? We have Philippine laws. Hanggang territorial waters lang po natin pwedeng i-enforce, ipatupad yung batas ng Pilipinas. Labas po dyan, hindi na natin pwedeng ma-enforce. Although there are exceptions, di ba? Sa criminal law natin. Next, contiguous zone, 24 nautical miles. So 12, si territorial sea, territorial waters, from the baseline, 12 nautical miles yan palabas. Si contiguous zone, 24 nautical miles palabas. From the baseline, 24 nautical miles. Okay, extension, parang extension siya. And then si EEZ or Exclusive Economic Zone, 200 nautical miles. Diyan natin nakuha si West Philippine Sea sa 200 nautical miles. Ito po yan. Parang may mali sa drawing ano. Okay. So, EEZ, ibig sabihin, pwede nating i-exploit yung mga natural resources, no? Pero hindi natin pwede ipatupad yung batas natin diyan, no? Hindi pwedeng mapa-enforce yung laws natin. Hanggang territorial waters lang po. The rest, may sovereignty tayo, pwede nating ma-enjoy yung karagatan, yung mga isda diyan, kung may gasolina diyan sa ilalim, may fuel, may oil, pwede natin yang i-exploit. Okay? Kasi part pa na siya ng exclusive economic zone. Economic nga kaperahan. Okay? Next. So, yan po yung shortcut natin. So, maritime zones, according to Republic Act 12064, the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, no, ang sabi diyan, territorial sea 12 nautical miles, atin na atin yan. We have kalayaan diyan. It includes airspace, seabed, and subsoil, and allows innocent passage for foreign ships. Si contiguous zone, yung 24 nautical miles, may enforcement power pa tayo dyan, no? Power to prevent, punish violations of customs, fiscal, immigration, or sanitary laws. Kaya nga sinabi ko, parang extension siya ni territorial sea. Next is the exclusive economic zone, 200 nautical miles, sovereign rights lang. We have the exclusive right to explore or exploit resources like fish, oil, or gas, but not a sovereign territory. No, hindi pwedeng mag-enforce tayo ng kapangyarihan natin diyan or mga laws natin. So, allows freedom of navigation and overflight. So, I hope hindi niyo makalimutan yung mga distance from the baseline. Next. So, sa Article 2, shortcut ko na lang, no? Ano lang natin diretso sa kung ano lang madahalan pala, sorry. Okay. So sa Declaration of Principles, sa principles natin, huwag kakalimutan, Section 1, the Philippines is a democratic and republican state. Ibig sabihin, we choose our leaders and once we choose them, they represent us. 'Di ba? Halimbawa, eleksyon. Nagkaroon ng eleksyon, ang binoto ng majority is si President Marcos. He will represent us. He will represent you as a Filipino sa ibang bansa or kung ano man po yung trabaho ng isang president. Same thing sa congressman or sa governor. Pag siya po ang nanalo, majority of the vote napunta sa kanya, democratic po yun, di ba? Pinili siya. Ngayon, he will represent the public, yung mga bumoto sa kanya or yung taga-province nila. Okay? And all powers na meron yung mga tao na yan, president man, vice president, governor, congressman, pati yung barangay captain nyo, tsaka yung mga SK dyan, all the powers that they have, it's from us na bumoto sa kanila. Okay? Sovereignty resides in the people and all government authorities emanates from them. It is from the people. Number two, the Philippine renounces war, an aggressive war, okay? Kasi may dalawang uri ng war, aggressive and uh, defensive. So, syempre, ayaw natin ng aggressive war. Yung war na tayo yung nambubuli, tayo nagpapasimula. Pero pag we need to defend our state or our country, then we can go for it. So we don't like aggressive war as an instrument of national policy. And kung may mga batas sa ibang bansa na tanggap na ng halos buong mundo, generally accepted principles of international law, kahit wala tayong ganong batas sa Pilipinas, pwede nating gamitin yon dito sa Philippines. Kahit wala tayong ganong batas. Kasi yan nga, generally accepted principles of international law can become part of our laws. Okay? Ano pa? Sa part natin sa PNP nyo sa PNP, civilian authority is at all times supreme over the military. So paano natin napapanindigan 'yan na always civilian authority supreme over the military? Number one, kapag ikaw po ay tatakbo bilang president, kailangan hindi ka member ng military, 'di ba? Magre-resign ka muna, no? Kasi para maging civilian ka. So ang pinakamataas na posisyon sa Pilipinas, no, the highest position, kailangan civilian po yung nakaupo diyan. Also, even during martial law, no, civilian pa rin, si president pa rin yung pinakamataas. Okay. Ano pa? Yun nga, hindi pwedeng maging military personnel yung nasa taas no, sa Philippines, sa presidency. So the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the AFP, is the protector of the people. Aside from that, aside from protecting the people, they protect the state and our national territory. So kung mapapansin niyo yung AFP, ma'am and sir, sila po yung naka-assign sa sila po yung naka-assign sa himpapawid, sa karagatan at kabundukan kasi they should protect the integrity of the national territory. Okay? Next, 4, prime duty ng government is to serve and protect. So kayo po yung pinaka ginagamit diyan, no? Law enforcement, law enforcement agencies. Kayo po yung pinaka ginagamit diyan. So the government may call upon the people if there's a need to defend the state, wag naman sana World War III, mga ganon, then the government can call for those mga reserve, no, para po, or even not reserve, para po tumulong for military or civil service. Then, Section 5, trabaho nyo ulit to, the maintenance of peace and order, protection of life, liberty, and property. Para saan yan? Promotion of general welfare. What is that for? Yan po yung mga kailangan ng mga tao so they can enjoy the blessings of democracy. Diba? Kaya kami nagbabayad ng tax, no? Kaya kayo nagpupuyat, is para po ma-enjoy ng mga tao yung blessing of democracy. So that's why you maintain peace and order, you protect life, liberty, and property. And you promote general welfare, no, for the enjoyment by all the people of the blessings of democracy. And Section 6, the separation of church and the state. Hiwalay po yan talaga. Hindi pwedeng makialam si church sa mga gagawin ng state, ganun din naman si state. Good example dyan is yung sa Bill of Rights natin. Section 5 sa establishment of religion. Hindi pwedeng maglabas ng budget sa government para bumuo ng isang relihiyon. At hindi rin pwedeng magkaroon ng religious test. Kumbaga, kasama sa exam. For example, papasok ang PNP or magtatakbo kang president. Kailangan ba mag-exam ka? Kilala mo ba si Jesus Christ? Mga ganon. Hindi, walang ganon. Wala ding qualification na dapat Catholic ka or INC ka para ikaw ay makatakbo bilang ganito, ikaw ay makapasok sa PNP. 'Di ba? Walang ganon. Kasi that's one of the separation na ginagawa. Okay? Ano pa? Bill of Rights na tayo. Sobrang dami po ng state policies. But mga important ito 1 to 6. So Bill of Rights, Section 1 natin, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. So alam naman natin, no, na sa Section 1 ng Bill of Rights, it talks about due process of law and equal protection of the laws. So ano ba yung due process? Pinaka-basic, no, due process, procedural due process, kailangan kapag bago ka ikulong, bago ka mahatulan, bago tanggalin yung kalayaan mo, ari-arian mo or buhay mo, malaman mo na mayroong something kang ginawang mali. And your side should be heard. Yan po yung right to be notified and right to be heard. Yan po yung dalawang procedural due process. Bago mangyari yung mga deprivation na yan, you should be notified of yung accusation against you and kailangan marinig nila yung side mo. After that, kung ganun pa rin, nagkaroon na ng trial and everything, talagang guilty ka, yan na, magkakaroon na ng deprivation. Okay? Nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. Pantay-pantay po tayong lahat dapat sa mata ng batas. Okay? Hindi porket mayaman siya, mahirap 'to, 'no, denied yung proteksyon ng batas sa kanya, 'di ba? So that's section 1. Section 2, very important sa PNP, the right of the people against unreasonable searches and seizure. So sa unreasonable search, seizure and arrest. Okay? So anong pinakakailangan? Alam naman natin it should have warrant, search warrant or arrest warrant. Okay? So the right of the people to be secured their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizure of whatever nature and for any purpose shall be inviolable. Dapat walang mangyayaring walang lalabas na search warrant or warrant of arrest except kung yun po ay binigay ni judge because merong probable cause, no? Except upon probable cause to be determined personally by the judge after examination under oath or affirmation of the complainant and the witnesses he may produce. Particularly, itong pinaka-importante sa search warrant, no? Particularly, dinedescribe na yung lugar kung saan po magse-search at yung tao or bagay na kukunin. Taong aarestuhin or bagay na isi-seized. Okay? So yan po si right against unreasonable search and seizures. Although marami siyang exception, 'di ba? Maraming exception sa unreasonable search, 'di ba? Yung ah, search incidental to lawful arrest, yung mga exigent circumstances, plain view doctrine, yung sa customs, no, yung sa mga eroplano, sa mga terminal, 'di ba? Maraming sa moving vehicle, marami namang exceptions. Sa arrest naman, meron tayo yung ating citizen's arrest ng mga circumstances, in flagrante delicto, hot pursuit, and the escapee. Okay, but general general rule, generally, bago ka manghuli, bago ka mag-search, kailangan may warrant ka. Okay? And mabibigyan ka lang ng warrant if nakita ni judge na may probable cause. So kailangan magbigay ng mga, 'di ba, kailangan magbigay ng mga ebidensya or probable cause. Kailangan mag-present ng evidence na talagang nandyan, dapat hulihin or dapat i-search yung lugar na yan. Dapat hulihin yung tao or dapat i-search or i-seize yung bagay na yan. Next, privacy of communication and correspondence. So ito po yung ang pinaka nalalabag natin dito is the anti-wiretapping law, no? So sa privacy of communication and correspondence, pwedeng 'pag nilabag niyo 'to, 'no, hindi po pwedeng dalhin sa court yung evidence na nakukuha niyo. Kasi nakalagay mismo sa constitution natin, it shall be inviolable except kapag may warrant or may lawful order ni court. So, bawal ka makinig sa private communication ng mga tao, sulat ng mga tao, bawal mo i-record, no? Pwede mo lang gawin yon kapag may warrant. So, marami tayong warrant for that. Or when public safety or order requires otherwise, as prescribed by law. Tatandaan, any evidence na nakuha nyo, but then, nilabag na violate nyo yung section 3 natin, they will be inadmissible for any purpose, in any proceeding. Kahit anong case yan, administrative, civil, or criminal. Yan po ay magiging inadmissible. Hindi po yan tatanggapin sa court. Hindi yan magiging basis for judgment. Okay? Section 4, freedom of speech, expression, or of the press, and the right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition the government for redress and grievances. So section 4 po yan, yung karapatan natin magsalita, iparinig yung mga hinanaing natin, that's okay. Nasa section 4 po yan. As long as hindi ka po mapupunta sa libel, hindi aabot yung kalayaan mo na yan, dapat hindi niya labagin yung libel case natin. Okay? Section 5, no law shall be made respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So isa po ito sa sinasabi ko kanina, ang separation of the church and the state. Wala pong batas na ipapasa tungkol sa pagbuo ng isang relihiyon at pagbabawal na i-practice yung isang religion. Same thing na sinabi ko kanina, wala po dapat mga religious test para ma-avail mo yung services ng government. Section 6, liberty of abode. Pag sinabi nating abode, tahanan. So the liberty of abode and of changing the same within limits prescribed by law shall not be impaired except kapag may warrant. Siyempre, yung pag right to travel mo, right mo na pagtira sa ibang lugar, okay lang yan. But kapag may warrant na, may lawful order ng court na bawal gawin o hulihin ka, then pwede nating ma-regulate yung liberty of abode. But kung wala yun, exception lang talaga yung may lawful order. Next, Section 7. So, the right of people to information on matters of public concern shall be recognized. So, ito yung ini-issue natin ngayon sa health ni President Bongbong Marcos, no? Na umabot na sa point na nagja-jumping jack siya sa public para lang malaman natin na siya po ay healthy. It's the same issue nung kay President Duterte. No? Hanggang ngayon buhay pa naman, 'di ba? Nung time na siya din yung president, nagkaroon na ng issue na hindi siya healthy. So they are considering that as official records or matters of public concern. No? So access to official records, documents and papers pertaining to official acts, transactions and decisions, as well as to the government research data used as basis for policy development shall be afforded to the citizens. Okay? So yung mga batas, kailangan available online, available siya for the people. Yung mga project, mga ghost control project, yung mga gastusin, budgets, dapat they should be available for us anytime, no? Kailangan available sila sa atin if we want to see or check on them. Okay? Kasi that's matters of public concern. So we have the right to those information. Section 8 natin, right, sa pagbuo ng mga asosasyon, mga unions, no? As long as hindi po siya contrary sa law. As long as hindi naman yun, hindi mo siya binubuo para papagsakin ang Pilipinas o para magrebelde, di ba? So, mga union sa mga company, di ba? So, okay lang po yan because you have Section 8. Then, Section 9, our, ang tawag natin dito, power of expropriation or power of eminent domain, no? Private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. So as much as possible, no, wala pong private property na kukunin unless gagamitin po yan for public use at magbabayad po ang gobyerno dun sa private owner. So pwede siyang, kumbaga, as much as possible wala. No? Pero pag kailangan yung lugar na yan, yung private property na yan, kakailanganin for public use, dadaanan talaga siya ng tulay, kalsada, no? Kailangan talaga siyang magamit for public use, pwede siyang gawin kasi we have power of eminent domain or power of expropriation. Yun nga lang, magbabayad ng gobyerno ng just compensation. By bayad, okay? Section 10, obligation of contract. So it's civil naman to, no? That's section 10. Section 11, free access to courts and quasi-judicial bodies. So kailangan yung mga tao, no, if they have cases, kailangan free access to court. And adequate legal assistance. That's why we have PAO, no? May mga libre tayo. So legal assistance shall be not be denied to any person by reason of poverty. So hindi porket mahirap ka, hindi ka magkakaroon ng access to courts and quasi-judicial bodies at wala kang legal assistance. Mas binibigyan pa nga yan yung mga taong walang-wala, di ba? Sinabi nga kasi ni Ramon Magsaysay, those who has less in life must have more in law. So, pag mahirap ka, wala ka masyado sa buhay, walang-wala ka, mas marami pong ibibigay yung batas para sa'yo. Yan, perfect example sa Section 11. Free access to courts at free legal assistance for those na mahirap, no? Mahihirap. Section 12, very important po sa mga personnel na sa inyo, Ma'am and Sir, no, sa PNP. Section 12, pwede din po ninyo makita to sa RA 7438 or the rights of a person detained, arrested, accused pala, rights of the accused, detained, arrested, or under custodial investigation. So Section 12, any person under investigation for the commission of an offense shall have the right to be informed of his right to remain silent, to have competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice. So Miranda rights natin, no? If the person cannot afford the services of a counsel, ang gagawin, bibigyan po siya ng state. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and in the presence of a counsel. Next, no torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which vitiate the free will shall be used against him. Secret detention places, solitary incommunicado, or other similar forms of detention are prohibited. Alam ninyo yan, do? Wala pong dapat nasasakit. Hindi nyo po dapat sasaktan yung taong yon. And remember, any confession or admission, confession yung acknowledgement of guilt talaga, admission, acknowledgement of fact. Obtained in violation of this or section 17 hereof shall be inadmissible in evidence against him. So itong violation ng section 12 or if you violate section 17, yung right against self-incrimination, pag nakuha niyo yung confession or admission, but then you violated section 12 or section 17, inadmissible sa court. Okay, hindi po yan pwedeng tanggapin as evidence. The law shall provide penal and civil sanctions for violation of this section. So aside from that, aside from hindi natatanggapin sa court yung ebidensya or mga confession or admission na nakuha nyo, pwede din kayong maparusahan. Penal and civil. Pwedeng makulong, pwedeng magbayad. Or sabay, for violation of this section as well as compensation to the rehabilitation of victims of torture or similar practices. So meron po tayo niyan no, sa DOJ, I believe sa DOJ yon, pwede silang bigyan ng pera just because they were victimized, na-violate yung rights nila dito sa Section 12. Next, Section 13. Ito naman po ay sa bail. So all persons except those charged with offenses, lahat ng tao, so tanggalin niyo muna to, no? Yung dito sa punishable by reclusion perpetua when evidence of guilt is strong. Lahat ng tao, before conviction, bailable po. Naintindihan? So all persons, before conviction, wala pang desisyon si court na naghahawak, bailable pa yan by sufficient sureties or to be released on recognizance as may be provided by law. So we have, I think we have uh, uh, cash ba? O, monetary, di ba? Cash, property, recognizance, or surety. Diba? Yan yung pwede natin gamitin for bail. The right to bail shall not be impaired kahit na wala pong privilege of habeas corpus. So, excessive bail shall not be required. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng mga kaso, lahat ng tao na may kaso, basta wala pa pong conviction, bailable po. Okay? Except, sino exception? Kahit hindi pa siya convicted, kung ang kanyang penalty is, yung offense na ginawa niya is punishable by reclusion perpetua at malakas ang evidence na guilty siya, yan, pwede pong, hindi naman automatic, hindi bailable, di ba? Ano lang, discretionary yung bail. Pwedeng mag-decide po si prosecutor or si clerk of court, to, si court na lang, kung ibe-bail or hindi. Hindi automatic, hindi bailable, di ba? Mali yung pag punishable by reclusion perpetua when evidence of guilt is strong, non-bailable, hindi naman. Meron kasi tayong discretionary bail. Kumbaga, magde-decide muna sila, titingnan mo na, titimbang-timbangin muna nila kung pwede ba talagang mag-bail or hindi. Hindi siya automatic na non-bailable. Okay? So, yan si bail. So, lahat, basta before conviction, pwede mag-bail. Ang exception lang doon is if punishable by reclusion perpetua and when evidence of guilt is strong. Okay. And then, pag after conviction, ma'am, paano pag after conviction na, ma'am? Discretionary pa rin. Yun na, kahit na convicted na, may paraan pa rin, pwede pa rin yung maging bailable. Lalo na kapag on appeal yung case. Yun nga rin, discretionary ulit siya, magte-check pa rin, magtitimbang-timbangin yung mga ebidensya kung pwede ba talaga siyang i-bail or not. Okay? Next, we have section 14. So, mga rights po ito ng ating offender pa rin, no? So, ganun ulit, no person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense without due process of law. Sa lahat ng criminal prosecution, the accused will be presumed innocent. So ito po yung ating presumption of innocence, di ba? Until the contrary is proved, and shall enjoy the right to be heard by himself and counsel. Ito, to be informed of the nature and the cause of the accusation against him, no, the right to be notified or to be informed, to have speedy, impartial, and public trial, to meet the witnesses face to face, and to have compulsory process to secure attendance of witnesses and production of evidence. Okay. However, after arraignment, tuloy-tuloy po yung trial kahit hindi po pumunta si accused. Very important na during arraignment, 'di ba, a-attend po dapat si accused for identification, and syempre para magkaroon sila ng chance na ah, ano bang tawag natin diyan, sa arraignment, yung mag-haggle sila, magne-negotiate sila, 'no? Kung puwedeng umamin na lang siya, bawasan natin yung parusa, mga gano'n, 'no? Ah, plea bargain puwede din plea bargaining, 'yan bargain, magba-bargain. Okey, mag-uusap kung, "Sige, magsasabi ako ng guilty pero ito na lang ipaparusa sa'kin," which happens madalas sa drug cases, 'no? So 'yan. Next, Section 15, the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended except in cases of invasion or rebellion when public safety requires it. So 'yan, show me the body, 'no? Kung meron pong tao na hinuli at gusto po nilang malaman kung okay lang siya, then they can petition for the privilege of writ of habeas corpus. Next, ito po ay if yung naghuli is the state. Okay, state state po yung gumawa. Next, Section 16, all persons shall have the right to speedy disposition of their cases before all judicial, quasi-judicial, and administrative bodies. Number 17, ito yung sinasabi kong right against self-incrimination na hindi dapat hindi pwede kang humindi. No, kung feeling mo madidiin ka na doon sa kaso. No person shall be compelled. Hindi ka pwedeng pilitin na maging witness against yourself. That's right, against self-incrimination. Pag sinabing incrimination, dinidiin mo yung sarili mo. Okay, ikaw yung mismong nagko-cause bakit nadidiin ka sa kaso. So you have the right to refuse not to be a witness against yourself. Section 18 natin, okay lang 'to, basta wala pong puwedeng i-detain because of your political belief. Kung naniniwala ako kay Sarah or hindi, hindi niyo ako puwedeng ikulong dahil lang do'n. Excessive fines, dapat hindi po cruel, degrading, or inhuman. Ano pa? No employment of physical, psychological, or degrading punishment against a prisoner or detainee, or the use of substandard. Basta tungkol po 'to sa how you will yung punishment na binibigay. Madalas lang naman 'di ba, kulong lang naman. Tas pagdating pa sa loob, libre pagkain, although hindi gano'n ka-ano, naaalagaan naman din yung mga PDLs natin. Last 3 dito sa section 3 na article 3 natin. So no person shall be imprisoned for debt or non-payment of a poll tax. 21 yung double jeopardy natin. So again, hindi po ito pwedeng gamitin sa impeachment case. Okay? Kasi ibang case po 'yon. Sui generis po si impeachment case. So kapag ikaw ay pumatay or ng rape, nakasuhan ka na, na-acquit ka, or na-convict ka, hindi ka pwedeng kasuhan for the same rape na action mo. Although kapag nag-rape ka ulit, pwede ulit ikaw kasuhan ng another rape for that new rape na ginawa mo. Pero kung same case, same action, 'no, yung ginawa mo, same act, nakasuhan ka na for that same act, kakasuhan ka ulit, hindi pwede kasi that's double jeopardy. So kung na-convict ka na or na-acquit ka na for that act, or bigla na lang na-dismiss yung kaso ng hindi mo alam bakit na-dismiss, 'no, that hindi ka puwedeng kasuhan ulit for that same act or same case. Kasi magkakaroon po ng double jeopardy. That means they're violating your section 21 regarding double jeopardy. And section 22, ex post facto law tsaka bill of attainder, bawal na mga batas. Wala pong batas dapat na maipasang ganito. Pag sinabi ex post facto, ginawa mo kahapon, ngayon lang napasa ang batas, hindi pwedeng parusahan ka dahil sa ginawa mo kahapon. Bawal mag-look back. Kasi nga, laws are forward-looking, no? Looking forward, no? From now forward. Although there are exceptions, no? Pero kung ginawa ko siya last year, bawal magsabong, nagsabong ako last year, ngayon may pinasang batas na bawal magsabong, bawal niyo akong huli, "Sino yung mga nagsabong last year? Ikukulong namin kayo, kakasuhan namin kayo." Hindi puwede yun kasi that's ex post facto, bawal po yun. Okay. Bill of attainder, pagbibigay ng punishment kahit wala pa namang trial, bawal din po yun. Kailangan trial muna bago po tayo magbigay ng penalty. Okay, that's our Bill of Rights. So mapapansin niyo, kayo PNP personnel 'no, law enforcement agents kayo, you have a lot of power, power to arrest 'no, power to search, marami kayong kapangyarihan. But then there are rights na hindi niyo puwedeng labagin and yan po yan nasa Article 3 or the Bill of Rights ng konstitusyon. Okay, next. Sa citizenship natin, sino-sino ang mga Pinoy? So, basta importante po sa Pilipinas, kung isa sa mga magulang mo ay Pinoy, Pinoy ka. Kahit Amerikano yung isa or both of your parents are Pinoy, Pinoy ka. Ganun lang naman yon. Although may isa pa, yung foundlings, yung kay, may isa pang case yung kay Grace po, 'di ba? Well, di natin alam kung parents niya ay Pinoy. But then nakita po ang baby na si Grace po, nung baby pa siya, nakita po siya sa Cebu. Hindi natin alam yung parents niya kung Pinoy ba talaga, but then pinresume na Pinoy kasi nasa Pilipinas siya, eh. Do'n siya nakita, she was found in Cebu, which is a Philippine territory, 'di ba? Although hindi natin pag-uusapan yung lugar 'no, ang pag-uusapan natin dito, we presumed na ang parents niya ay Filipino, kaya kinonsider natin siya as Filipino. Kinonsider natin siya as natural born citizen. Okay, so itong 1, 2, 3, they're all natural born citizen, 'no? Citizen ka na ng Philippines at the time of adoption of 1987 Constitution, mama or papa mo or both ay Filipino, or you were born before January 17, 1973 of a Filipino mother, tapos you elected to become a Filipino citizen upon reaching the age of majority, which was before 21. Okay, ngayon 18 na. Ito number 4, hindi siya natural born, naturalized citizen 'to. So hindi ka Pinoy, Amerikano ka or kung ano ba sila, Italian, but then na-in-love ka sa kultura, gusto mong maging Pinoy, okay? Puwede po 'yun. Mayroon nga lang mga requirements at mayroon pong legal process or the naturalization process. May legal procedure siya. So if 'no, yung Congress is ma-convince mo na okay lang na maging Pinoy ka, puwede ka pong maging naturalized Filipino citizen. Hindi natural born, okay? Naturalized. You can be a Filipino citizen, makakaboto ka, lahat ng puwedeng gawin ng isang Pinoy, puwede mong gawin except ang pagtakbo sa public position. Kasi natural born citizen dapat 'pag public position po ang hawakan mo. Okay. Yun po yung nilalaban ni Grace po before kasi nung tumatakbo po siya as I think VP, basta mataas na posisyon or senator lang naman ata, 'di ba? Question yun na hindi naman natin alam kung natural born citizen talaga siya. So doon po nagkaroon ng jurisprudence na if you are a foundling at kumbaga presumed na Filipino yung parents mo or isa sa mga parents mo, you will be considered natural born citizen. Okay? So yan po. Basahin niyo na lang yan si Diyos Sanguinis siya ka Diyos Soli. Suffrage, pagboto, no, the right to vote. So pinaka-importante po na mga requirements for your right to vote is citizenship. Dapat Filipino ka, natural born man or naturalized. Your age, residency. So, importante, you are a Filipino citizen, so your citizenship, ito yung clue natin, no, CAR F18. So, citizenship dapat Filipino. Your age must be at least 18 years of age. Wala akong pakialam kung 98 ka na or 100 ka na, basta hindi ka po bababa sa 18. Tapos, nakatira ka po sa Pilipinas for 1 year na at doon sa mismong lugar kung saan ka boboto for 6 months. So nakalagay dyan, exercised by all citizens of the Philippines, at least 18 years of age, resided in the Philippines for at least 1 year, and in place wherein they propose to vote for at least 6 months. Ilan lang po, no? Minimum requirement lang. Wala pong literacy, kailangan graduate ka ng ganito, kailangan nakatapos ka ng elementary, kailangan may bahay ka. Wala pong substantive requirement. Yan lang po, minimum qualification lang para ikaw ay makaboto dito sa Philippines. Okay, kailangan mo pa-register siyempre. Next. So, ating 6, 7, 8, kasi ito Article 5 na 'to, eh. Article 6, 7, 8 talks about the 3 branches of the Philippine government or yung mga departments na na-discuss ko na kanina. So, you have the legislative department, the executive department, and the judicial department. So, 'pag Article 6, it talks about legislative. Pag legislative, gumagawa ng batas. Okay? Legislative department. Sila po yung may legislative power. So, yan po ay binibigay sa Congress. Like what I've said, si Congress po ay nahahati sa dalawa. Meron tayong upper chamber at lower chamber kasi bicameral. 2 chambers po ang Congress natin. So, yung lower chamber, we call that House of Representative. The upper chamber is the Senate. House of Representative natin ngayon, 318 sila. Senate natin, always yan 24. Hindi po yan bumababa, hindi po tumataas. Okay. So they have the legislative power or the right to create or make laws or amend laws. Sila po yung gumagawa niyan. That power is from the police power po. Ano ba yung police power? The right to regulate freedom. Di ba? Kasi free tayo, mga Pinoy, we are in a free country. Kaso, para ma-maintain po natin yung state natin, may mga freedom tayo na kailangan i-regulate, medyo bawasan or ibawal talaga na mga kilos para hindi po mapahamak ang mga tao sa paligid natin or hindi po mamatay yung estado natin. So, yan po yung police power. Binibigay din po yan sa legislative department by creating laws. Oh, masyado nang malala tong ganitong mga kilos, kailangan na natin ipagbawal. Gagawa sila ng batas to penalize or para mapagbawal po yung kilos na yan. So they are the legislative department. We have 24 senators. As of now, we have 318 House of Representatives. So they create laws, okay? Nandyan din po yung mga qualification para maging senator, yung edad. Senator is 35 years of age, kailangan. House of Representative is 25. Mga kongresista. Okay? Next, Article 7. Executive Department naman to. So, ang gumahawak talaga or may executive power talaga is si President or the Chief Executive or we call him as well Commander-in-Chief. Kasi siya po ang Commander-in-Chief ng AFP. Okay? Ngayon, ang trabaho naman nila, lahat ng mga batas na na-create ng Congress or ng Legislative Department, i-enforce ni Executive, i-execute. They will make sure na napapatupad ang batas na yan, na walang lumalabag sa batas na yan, at kapag may lumabag, dapat ma-detect nila at mahuli, maimbestigahan at mahuli po nila yung tao. And that's your job. Kasi you are part of the executive, you are under the executive department. Hindi naman kasi kaya ni President manghuli, 'di ba? Hindi kaya ni President magpatrol sa buong Pilipinas para lang ma-make sure na na-e-enforce yung mga batas na ginawa ng Legislative Department. So anong kailangan niya? Manpower. That's why marami tayong law enforcement agency, SIS. Isa na po ang PNP diyan. PNP is the premier law enforcement agency, kilala at talagang nagtatrabaho pagdating sa law enforcement. PNP po 'yan, no? Pag sinabing the premier law enforcement agency under the DILG, PNP po 'yon. Pag sinabing the premier law enforcement agency under the DOJ, NBI po 'yon. You are both law enforcement agencies. Among others, marami pa kayong kasama. Okay? Mapapakita ko yung iba mamaya. So lahat ng mga batas na naipasa, naging batas from the Legislative Department, ipapatupad po yan ni Executive Department. They will arrest, they will detect, they will investigate, they will enforce the law, they will execute the law. Okay? Pag may nahuli kayo, may na-arrest, di ba, mag-screening tayo sa prosecution, papasok na si Judicial Department. Mga courts na. Kasi they need to interpret that law na ginawa, na sinabi niyong nilabag nung taong hinuli niyo. So yung batas, for example, sample ang krimen is ang ginawang kasalanan is murder. Not robbery with murder Walang robbery with murder. Okay, murder. May batas na ginawa, 'di ba? Na meron tayong may murder case. So, na-execute na-detect niyo 'yon, nahuli niyo yung tao, na-arrest niyo, dadalhin niyo ngayon siya sa judicial department, that's the court. So, si court, i-interpret niya yung batas. Ano ba yung mga pinagbabawal ng batas na 'to, then ire-relate nila 'yon sa mga kilos na ginawa nung taong inaresto niyo. 'Di ba, pagbabangga-banggain na lang nila na meron bang namatay, itong tao ba ang pumatay sa kanya, meron bang mga qualifying aggravating circumstance na present para maging murder talaga. If yes, then they will apply the law. Gano'n lang naman si judicial department. They are the arbiter, sila yung magde-decide kung guilty or not guilty yung tao through the evidence presented. Okay? So, ganyan yung pagkakahimay, kumbaga yung connection ng tatlong 'yan. Okay? The legislative, executive, and the judicial department. I hope that's clear. Next, we go to the constitutional commissions. So, meron tayong constitutional commissions, 'di ba mataas po yung legislative department, executive department, and the judicial department. But remember, itong constitutional commissions are independent from them. Hindi po sila under ng kahit anong departments na pinag-usapan natin kanila. They are on its own, independent po sila. Kaya hindi po sila takot sa executive, sa legislative, or sa judicial. Actually, sila yung tagabantay. No? They're the watchdog. Ayan. So, meron tayong tatlong constitutional commissions. We have the Civil Service Commission, the Commission on Election, and the Commission on Audit. So, anong mga roles nila or pinakatawag sa kanila? So, baka ito lumabas, no? Civil Service Commission, the central personal agency ng government. Okay? So, lahat ng nagtatrabaho sa government, meron po silang record niyan. Actually, yung iba dumadaan talaga sa kanila. Actually, dumadaan talaga lahat na nasa public service sa kanila. Okay? As of now, ang chairperson po ay si Marilyn B. Yap. Sa COMELEC naman is it enforces and administers all laws relative to the conduct of elections. That's why before, during, and after election, di ba, hawak po, majority of the PNP personnel ay under na COMELEC. So, kasi during election period, or basta relative to election laws relative to election, COMELEC po yung may hawak. Pati pag-conduct ng election, lahat ng mga pwedeng labagin during election period, COMELEC po. As of now, ang chairperson is si George Erwin Garcia. Then COA, the watchdog, tagabantay. No? Audits all government revenues and expenditure, lahat ng tungkol sa kaperahan. So as of now, ang chairperson natin is si Gamaliel Cordoba. Next, nakalimutan ko palang sabihin, Supreme Court po, as of now, ang Chief Justice ng Supreme Court ay si Gismundo. Hindi ko alam kung nandito siya. Gismundo. Hindi ko na naman. Meron to kanina eh. Nasulat ko to eh. Alexander Gismundo, ha? Gesmundo. Alexander Gismundo. Siya po yung Supreme Court Chief Justice ngayon. Next, sa Article 10 natin, local government. Pag sinabing local, syempre hindi national. So, paano hinahati-hati yung Pilipinas, territorial and political subdivision ng Pilipinas? So, kung hindi siya national, meron tayong provincial, cities, municipalities, and barangays. Palatandaan nyo dyan, yung may mga eleksyon, ng may mga heads na na-elect. Diba sa barangay, may barangay chairman, tapos yung mga barangay council niya. Sa munisipyo, may municipal mayor, vice mayor, tsaka yung kanyang municipal council. Sa cities din, city mayor, city vice mayor, city council. Province naman, governor, mga congressman, tapos meron tayong board members. So wag yung isali yung regional kasi walang eleksyon para sa mga regional. Ano 'yun? Regional director, 'di ba? Wala namang eleksyon para sa mga ganon. Province, city, municipalities, ang barangay lang. So, pag tinanong kayo ano yung pinakamailiit na political unit sa Philippines, syempre barangay po 'yun. So national, provincial, cities, municipalities, and barangay. Ito national yung mga senator, president, no? Ito pong mga to local lang po sila. Okay? Next. 11. So public accountability na 'yan si 11. Tatandaan, public office is a public trust. 'Di ba? Nandiyan kayo sa posisyon na 'yan, na-appoint kayo sa mga posisyon na 'yan because the public trusted you. So, lagi po kayo dapat accountable sa public, 'no? Kailangan may pananagutan kayo, kailangan gagawin niyo yung trabaho niyo. You must serve with responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, and you should lead modest lives, simple living. Okay? So, ang mga nagtatrabaho diyan pagdating sa accountability para mapanagot kayo kapag mayroon kayong ginawa, 'no, lalong-lalo na yung mga matataas ng posisyon, we have the ombudsman or we call that the tanod bayan. Kumbaga ito po yung prosecutor sa level na po na matataas. So power, it investigates and prosecutes administrative and criminal cases against government officials. They conduct preliminary investigation. Pag mga government officials na po yung involved. Okay? So, siya po yung maghahanap ng ebidensya, siya po yung mag-investigate, checking if dapat ba talagang idalhin sa korte yung kaso na yon or yung complaint na yon. Kapag yes, kapag may ano na ngayon eh, let's just say probable cause or prima facie evidence, no? Ipapasa niya po yan kay Sandigan Bayan. Si Sandigan Bayan po yung korte. Or we call that the anti-graft court. So it's a special court with the same rank of the Court of Appeals. Ang hawak po ni Sandigan Bayan na mga kaso, most is criminal and civil cases involving graft and corrupt practices or CRA 3019. Basta mga generally yung mga gumawa ng graft and corrupt practices na mga high-ranking officials or may salary grade 27 pataas. Okay? Salary grade 27 pataas. Yan. So, anti-graft court, Sandigan Bayan, tanod bayan natin ay ombudsman. So, ang flow niyan, kung may complaint ka, sabi mo nangungurakot si ganito, it can be filed by you, citizen or initiated by the state. Ang investigador to check for evidences, kung sapat yung ebidensya na meron para malaman kung didiretso tayo sa court is the investigator, the ombudsman. So they will conduct preliminary investigation to see if there is probable cause. And then ipapasa niya po yan kay Office of the Special Prosecutor para makapag-file sila ng information. Ito kaso na 'to. Yung information ipapasa nila kay court which is the Sandigan Bayan. Si Sandigan Bayan ngayon ang magta-trial, makikinig, magche-check ng ebidensya na ipe-present, and they will decide kung iko-convict or i-acquit po yung tao. Okay. So ito po yung flow kapag public official yung involved, lalo na yung mga salary grade 27 pataas at graft and corrupt practices po yung kaso. Okay, next. Sa constitutional mandate natin, like what I've said, yung PNP po, nandyan po yan sa Article 16, Section 6. The state shall establish and maintain one police force according to RA 8551. Ang police force na kailangan is a highly efficient and competent police force, which shall be national in scope and civilian in character, to be administered and controlled by the National Police Commission. Kaya po sila ay nagpapatake ng exams, no? Kasama din po sila sa promotion, yung board, no? Kasi they have administrative and operational control. So the authority of the local executives over police units and their jurisdiction shall be provided by law. Tatandaan, national in scope, pang buong Pilipinas po, no? Civilian in character, the PNP is civilian agency not under the DND or the Department of National Defense. Hindi po siya member ng AFP, PNP po is a civilian agency. Okay? Administration, it shall be administered and controlled by a National Police Commission or the NAPOLCOM. At yung mga mayors and governors po, they have limited na mga kapangyarihan over the PNP, lalong-lalo na sa recommendation, kung sino yung pwedeng maging provincial director, maging chief of police, sa pagpaparusa, sa penalty, kapag may ginawang kasalanan, yan, meron po silang kapangyarihan dyan sa employment and deployment. Kung sino-sino po yung pwedeng ma-recommend na magtrabaho dun sa loob ng kanilang jurisdiction or pwede pong saan po pwede ilipat, no, yung isang PNP personnel. So yan, nandiyan po yan. May trabaho, may involvement sila diyan. Discuss ko na 'to, Miranda rights. Commander-in-Chief, na-discuss na natin 'yan. Civilian supremacy, na-discuss na natin 'yan. Okay, let's go to criminal justice system. So sa criminal justice system natin, criminal justice system, hindi lang naman Pilipinas ang meron 'yan, 'di ba? Kahit ibang bansa meron po kasi it's a necessary thing, kailangan-kailangan 'yan para maging peaceful yung lugar nila, okay? So it is defined as a network of government and private agencies intended to manage accused and convicted criminals comprising interrelated pillars such as law enforcement, the judiciary, and correction. So, sa ibang bansa, tatlo lang yung kanilang pillars. Madalas dyan, law enforcement, court, and correction lang. But sa Pilipinas, meron po tayong 5. Alam naman natin yan, no? Aimed at supporting the ideas of legal justice and due process. So, ano bang pinaka-goal ng criminal justice? Ang criminal justice gumagalaw para wala pong tao na inosente na mapakulong at kung ito ay hindi inosente dapat mapakulong talaga natin siya, 'di ba? Hindi yung other way. Wala pong no wrongful convictions at kung 'yan po ay talagang guilty dapat mapakulong natin siya. Yung inosente dapat hindi siya makulong, okay? Sapat that both suspect and victims have access to remedies, that they are provided with speedy and impartial process that ensures the protection of their human and legal rights, equal treatment before the law, and the appropriate remedies applied to the convicted. And while serving the sentence, dapat mabigyan po sila ng humane treatment at sapat na support para ma-develop sila para pagbalik nila sa komunidad, maging law-abiding citizens and productive citizens sila. Yun yung pinaka-goal ng criminal justice system. Ano pa? To gain and sustain the trust and confidence of the community and engage in community as an active and effective partner in solving crime. So, dinagdag na yung community ngayon, no? Very important na yung role ng community para ma-solve yung mga crimes and para 'pag naibalik na po sa community yung mga galing sa loob is magtuloy-tuloy po yung kanilang correction or rehabilitation. Communities that have capacities to demand accessible, speedy, and impartial and quality justice, and in particular, the appropriate remedies for their grievances. Okay, punta tayo sa Philippines. So sa Philippines, ang PCGS natin is a machinery. Ito po yung ginagamit nating tool to prevent and control crimes. So dan, police yan, prevent and control crimes. Law enforcement yan, enforces the law. Prosecution, prosecutes offender. Court decides cases in court. And then rehabilitate offenders and work with the community to maintain peace and order. So like what I've said, sa Philippines, we have 5 pillars of the criminal justice system. Sila po, 5 sila, iba-iba yung pangalan, iba-iba yung trabaho nila, but they work together like a chain na 'pag nag-weaken yung isa, pumalpak yung isa, hindi po magiging successful lahat. That's why we call them system, 'di ba? System. May kanya-kanyang trabaho yung parts ng mga system na yan, but they work together 'pag para maging successful or makuha nila yung goal. So what are the pillars of the criminal justice system ng Pilipinas? We have the 5 pillars here, the law enforcement or the police, the prosecution, the courts or the judiciary, corrections, and the community. So, hindi na natin masyadong lalaliman, okay? Police or the law enforcement pillars, they are you. Part kayo na to, you are the frontliners. You are the frontline of CJS because they are regarded as the initiator, the prime mover. You are the first contact ng law violator sa criminal justice process natin. So, you investigate, you detect crime, you make arrest, you prepare evidence para po mapakasuhan natin yung offender. Okay, lagi kong sinasabi, kahit mang-rape ka ng 10 babae diyan or tao diyan sa community, kung hindi mai-involve, hindi malalaman, hindi made-detect, hindi po makakarating sa police, hindi po 'yan maaaresto, hindi po papasok sa CJS ang taong 'yon, yung nang-rape. Hindi po siya dadaan sa 5 pillars na 'yon. Kasi parang gatekeeper si police, eh, 'di ba? First contact kayo. Kapag pa-chill-chill, wala, 'di kayo nagde-detect 'no, reactive lang. Kumbaga gagalaw lang kapag may report na, marami talaga ang makakatakas. Kasi you are the frontliner. Kailangan ma-detect niyo 'yan. Kailangan may magsumbong sa inyo, kailangan ma-detect niyo. Kaya lagi 'pag tinatanong, ano mauna, law enforcement o community, may iba kasi nasasagot ng community. But then again, frontliner po ang law enforcement pillar. kahit ilang tao yung patayin mo diyan, rapin mo diyan, kung hindi po malalaman at hindi po kumikilos, hindi po mai-involve ang law enforcement, hindi po papasok, hindi makakarating ng prosecution si offender, hindi siya makadadala sa court, hindi siya mapapakulong. Okay? So that's the importance of the law enforcement pillar. Okay? Halimbawa naka-detect, so you will patrol, 'di ba, mag-e-enforce kayo ng batas, make sure niyo na napatutupad yung batas, hindi nilalabag, at 'pag may lumabag, dapat made-detect niyo 'yon, maiimbestigahan niyo 'yon, and hopefully you can arrest that person and prepare for the evidence para madala siya sa prosecution. Ngayon 'pag may mga ebidensya, pinapasa natin kay second pillar, which is the prosecution. So lahat ng ebidensya na nakuha ni police or ng law enforcement pillar, iche-check po 'yan, i-evaluate ni prosecution. Siya po yung taga-screening. Screening process on whether to file a case. 'Pag dumating sa prosecution yung kaso, not yung issue, wala pang kaso yun, 'di ba? Kailangan makarating muna sa court para mayroong case. So dito, complaint pa lang, 'no? Meron pa lang ebidensya. Mag-evaluate ng evidence si prosecutor, si fiscal, to check if tama ba na mag-file tayo ng case sa court. So, hindi lahat ng reklamo nakakarating agad sa court kasi meron tayong taga-screening. So, the prosecution pillar will evaluate the evidences, 'di ba? Before, it's burden of quantum of evidence natin is probable cause. Ngayon is prima facie evidence with certainty of conviction na, 'di ba? So, after that, 'pag wala namang prima facie evidence or yung probable cause natin before, dismiss yung complaint. 'Pag meron, then si prosecutor will file an information sa court. Oh, 'pag napunta na kay court, ayan na, may kaso na tayo. So, kapag si court naman, nakita nila yung information, they will conduct arraignment, yung plea bargaining, yung reading of the accusation, pagbibigay ng kopya, tapos yung if you plead guilty or not guilty, mga gano'n, 'di ba, arraignment. Then they will proceed with the trial. If hindi pa nahuhuli yung tao, they will issue warrant of arrest. So, then their very important task is it's either to acquit or to convict the person. Acquit kapag not guilty, convict kapag guilty. Okay, tuloy tayo, punta tayo kay correction. Kapag na-convict, we have the correction pillar for that. For the incarceration, kung kailangan i-incarcerate or ikulong, and for their rehabilitation. Para hindi po para saktan yung tao, no, para pahirapan sila, but to prepare them for their reintegration to the community. Ang ano kasi ngayon, 'di ba, is may sakit 'yan, 'di ba? May problema kaya sila nakagawa ng kasalanan. Kailangan natin ayusin yung problema. 'Yun yung correction. Kaya correction, you need to correct them. Para 'pag binalik na sila sa community, ni-reintegrate na sila, mas matitinong tao na sila. Okay, next, community pillar helps the penitent offender to become law-abiding citizen by accepting the mga clients natin, no, for their re-entry and assist said penitent offenders lead a new life as a responsible members of the society. Okay? So, ito po yung shortcut. We have the pillars here, their main role, and the example organizations na meron tayo. So, law enforcement enforces the law, they investigate crimes. Madalas natin nakita organizations, PNP, NBI, PDEA, AFP, among others, no? Philippine Coast Guard, Navy, mga ganon. Then, prosecution, determine probable cause to prosecute or determine the prima facie evidence and prosecute. Then they will submit information kay court. Okay, so DOJ po yan, mga prosecutors, mga fiscal. Pagdating tayo kay court, they will conduct arraignment, conduct trial, and determine the guilt of the respondent. So yan po, mangyayari na po yan, hawak na po yan ng Supreme Court, lower courts, paakyat kay Supreme Court. Kapag convicted, they will be rehabilitated sa Bucor, BGMP, or sa mga non-institutional corrections natin. Then community, babalik sila sa community. Hopefully, they will be reintegrated as law-abiding and productive citizens of the Philippines na. Mga non-government organization, tayo mismo yan, mga private citizens na nandyan na sa paligid. Hinihingan nila tayo ng tulong na tanggapin natin yung mga taong 'yan. Help natin sila na magtuloy-tuloy yung kanilang correction or rehabilitation. Okay. So, it doesn't necessarily mean na 5 pillars po 'yan, dire-diretso po 'yan, ha. Kasi puwede pong na-detect ng law enforcement pagdating sa prosecution, walang prima facie evidence, walang ebidensya na kailangan talaga natin siyang dalhin sa judiciary. So, cancel na agad 'yan, balik na 'yan siya sa community diretso. Or puwede ding law enforcement, nakarating ng prosecution, kaso pagdating sa court, acquitted. So, hindi na siya dadaan ng koleksyon, punta na siya dito. Okay, kasi si community po is mobilized 'no, kahit saan po siya diyan 'no. Basta may hindi nangyari dito, hindi siya na walang prima facie evidence, diretso 'yang community. Acquitted, diretso 'yan community, okay. Next, law enforcement agencies natin na mga sikat, mga uniformed. So, meron kasing ununiformed 'no, pero law enforcement pa rin sila, okay. So, we have kasi si BSP, si Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Law enforcement agency din 'yan. Eh, 'yun nga lang hindi sila naka-uniform, hindi sila uniformed service. Okay. So, mga kilala natin na law enforcement and uniform services, PDEA, which is under the Office of the President, the Presidential Security Guard, the Presidential Security Command. Sa DND natin, ito yung tri-branches ng AFP, Army, Air Force, and Navy. Si Navy, may isa pa siyang specialized unit, si Philippine Marine Corps. Si DOTR, PCG, and the Office of Transportation, I think it's Secretary. Security. Ha? Hindi ko mabasa. Okay, sa DILG ito po yung kasali kayo, PNP, BFP, and BGMP, then DOJ, NBI, Bureau of Corrections, and Bureau of Immigrations. So yan po yung mga agencies na nagpapatupad ng batas. Kung mapapansin niyo sinabi ko PNP is the premier law enforcement agency. Bakit? Yung pinapatupad nito puwede kasi ipatupad ni PNP, okay. Kasi lahat ng laws, almost all laws puwedeng ipatupad ni PNP. Si PDEA, pang-drug laws lang yung puwede niyang ipatupad. Gano'n din si, sino pa ba? Si Army, para lang po 'yan sa limited lang yung kanilang, limited lang po yung kanilang puwedeng maipatupad na batas. More often sa mga ano lang 'yan, territorial, na mga gano'n. So, si PNP po at saka ito si NBI, ito po yung premier law enforcement agency sa DILG, premier law enforcement agency sa NBI. Investigative po ito, si NBI. Okay. Gumagalaw yung baby ko. Other ano natin, oh, barangay tanod, 'di naman naka-uniform 'yan, 'no. So, but they are still law enforcement, okay. NICA, ayan, Office of the Transportation Security, yung OTS kanina, DSWD, yan, Anti-Money Laundering Council, BFAR, DENR, kasi mayroon pa rin naman silang pinapatupad na batas. Okay? Bureau of Fire Protection, nandun naman siya kanina, naka-uniformed kasi ang BFP. Okay, next sa court natin, ito po yung pagkasusunod-sunod, four-tiered po yung court natin. May lower courts, may appellate courts, and then the Supreme Court. So, 'pag below 6 years yung kaso, more often 'no, siyempre may mga exception diyan, but below 6 years na mga pagkakakulong or yung kaso sa'yo ay below 6 years yung, ah, ano parusa, dito 'yan madalas sa mga municipal trial courts. 'Pag above 6 years naman, regional trial court. 'Pag ayaw mo yung desisyon nito, puwede kang umakyat kay Court of Appeals. 'Pag ayaw mo yung desisyon ni Court of Appeals, puwede kang umakyat kay Supreme Court. Pero yun lang po ay sa parte convicted, Kapag acquitted yung tao at ayaw mo yung desisyon ng court, kasi acquitted yung pinapakulong mo, hindi ka na puwedeng umakyat kay regional. Kasi double jeopardy na yun, okay. So, 'pag si convict yung criminal or yung offender ang ayaw niya yung desisyon na ikukulong siya, puwede siyang mag-appeal na mag-appeal na mag-appeal. Or puwede siyang magpa-motion for reconsideration, motion for new trial, gano'n. Ito po yun si Sandigan Bayan 'no, ito po siya. Dito po tayo dadaan kapag graft and corrupt practices. Tapos kung ayaw ni official yung desisyon kapag convicted siya diyan, puwede pa siyang umakyat kay Supreme Court. Okay. Next. Okay, correctional institution in the Philippines, we have institutional at saka non-institutional. Pag institutional, may facility talaga na doon titira yung tao. Incarcerated talaga siya doon. So, sa Bureau of meron tayong mga kilalang institutional correction dito sa Philippines, the Bucor, Provincial Jails, and BJMP or the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. Natatandaan, kapag above 3 years, more than 3 years po yung penalty nung taong 'yan, kulong ng taong 'yan, Bucor po 'yan makukulong. Okay, mahahaba yung sentence nila. Kapag below 3 years, 3 years and below, saktong 3 years or pababa, you need to check saan sila nakagawa ng kasalanan, saan sila nakasuhan or na-convict. Kapag sa city, wala tayong magagawa, BGMP ang hawak niyan kasi they will be handling city jails. So 1 year, 1 day to 3 years na pagkakakulong basta sa city po siya gumawa ng krimen, sa city po siya na-convict, city jail. Okay? Sa BGMP po under 'yan. Kapag naman provincial, you need to check ngayon. Okay? Pag provincial, hati po 'yan sa dalawa. 1 day to 6 months or 6 months and 1 day to 3 years. Pag 1 day to 6 months, municipal. Pag 6 months and 1 day to 3 years, provincial. 'Di ba? So dito ka lang naman magwo-worry kapag below 3 years yung kulong. You need to check the lugar. Okay? Pero pag above 3 years, kahit saang lugar pa yan, city or provincial, Bucor talaga makukulong yan. Okay? So nandyan naman yung palatandaan natin. So pag below nito, alam mo pag provincial, 6 months and 1 day to 3 years. Pag below dyan, municipal po yan. Ha? Sila po yung partners. Iba po yung may hawak, hindi po hawak ng BGMP ang provincial jails, tatandaan niyo po. Next, meron din tayong non-institutional corrections. So ito, hindi sila nakukulong. Okay? They are at large. Kaso they are not really free. May mga conditions silang dapat sundin. Okay? Although may non-institutional na wala, no? Yung absolute pardon. Yun, palayang malaya ka na. Aside from that, yung parole, probation, conditional pardons, mga gano'n. Ibang ano po 'yun 'no, mga, non-institutional kumbaga hindi ka na makukulong, papalabasin ka na. Do'n ka papagalingin sa labas ng kulungan. Sa bahay niyo, magtatrabaho ka pa rin, magagawa mo pa rin yung mga responsibilidad mo. That is done para, yun nga, magawa mo yung responsibility mo, hindi po ma-broken yung family mo, and hindi ka na rin mahirapan bumalik sa community. Kasi yun yung pinakamahirap eh, yung reintegration ng tao from kulungan to the community. Kasi nga meron tayong yung labeling, 'di ba, na, ex-convict 'yan, mga gano'n-gano'n. Kaya para mabawasan yung gano'n, yung hirap na i-reintegrate yung tao, kung kaya silang maging i-correct non-institutionally, sa labas na sila papagalingin, ginagawa po 'yan. 'Yan, kaya medyo malakas ang hiring po ng PPA, Parole and Probation Administration, tsaka BPP. Kasi tina-try ngang gawin 'yon, okay? Ano pa, DSWD pagdating sa mga babae at sa mga youth, 'di ba? Hindi naman kung kayang hindi sila ikulong, hindi sila ikukulong. Puwede po sila sa labas i-correct. So that's why we have non-institutional corrections. Okay? Next, classification of prisoners, alam ko familiar din po kayo dito kasi you are in the service. So pag detention prisoner, ang palatandaan namin diyan fit. Okay? Aside from the persons held for security reasons, no? So fit, waiting pa lang sila for final judgment, waiting for investigation or waiting for trial. Kapag sila po ay hinuli na at sila po ay detained na, we call them detention prisoners. Pero wala pang final judgment, hindi pa convicted. Ang tawag natin sa mga taong convicted na ay sentenced prisoner. Actually, itong detention prisoner ngayon, ang tawag nyo na dyan is PUPC, di ba? PUPC. Person under police custody na. Di ba? Doon sa may investigation. Pag nasa kulungan na talaga, yan. Pero wala pang kaso, wala pang conviction, detention pa rin naman. Or call them PDLs. Bakit iba-ibang tawag? Kasi 'di ba, iniiwasan natin yung labeling theory na ex-convict, ah, prisoner, 'di ba? So ang tinatawag natin sa kanya, person deprived of liberty, 'yan nagpa-PAPSI na rin kayo ngayon sa PNP, 'di ba? Yan yung mga tawag-tawag to avoid labeling them kasi baka i-manifest nila yung mga labels sa kanila. Okay. Next, sentenced prisoner, ito sentensyado na talaga, convicted na talaga. So, nandiyan po yung mga kulungan, tawag natin sa kanila at yung kulungan kung saan po sila puwedeng ikulong. 'Pag 1 day to 6 months lang po yung kanilang penalty, municipal jail. Ang tawag sa kanila municipal prisoner, which sa atin, 'no, since we know this, we call them PDLs pa rin, person deprived of liberty. So, 1 day to 3 years 'pag sa city po nangyari yon, city jail. 'Pag sa provincial, 6 months and 1 day to 3 years yung kulong, provincial jail. 'Pag more than 3 years, we call them national or insular prisoners. Sa prison or sa Bucor po sila kinukulong. Okay, and I think tapos na ako. Ito po ay mga ano na alam niyo naman 'to since you are in the service, but baka lumabas lang 'no, yung inyong seal, yung mga symbolisms and meanings ng logo and badge po ng PNP. Okay, and then yung other parts of your badge and seal, IAS sa 8551 which will be discussed as well by Sir Roy. So, hanggang dun lang po ang aking discussion for the general information. We've discussed current events, the Philippine Constitution, and the CJS. So, I hope marami po kayong natutunan and I hope madala nyo po yan. Magamit nyo po sila sa inyong promotional examination. So, thank you so much for staying with me and for listening, guys. Mga ma'am and sir, my quote is, my advice then, stay steady in your efforts, trust in your preparation, and pray for your strength and wisdom to finish strong. Thank you and God bless on your PNP promotional exam journey. Thank you so much and have a great night. Oh, meron pa pala kayong kasunod na this lecture with Sir Reynan. 8:30. Sir Jerome?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So, thank you so much, Ma'am Grace, sa pag-discuss po. Since andito pa naman sila, if ever, sir, ma'am, meron kayong mga questions, I think Ma'am Grace is willing to answer po.
Yes
We
po.
have, yes, we have 6 students nandito po. Good evening po. But
Evening
if none,
po.
we'll wait po for the another schedule. Right.
Okay.
But I think there's no questions. Anyway, makikita pa namin naman natin si Ma'am Grace bukas. Yes, ma'am.
Opo, correct.